Welcome to Morningstar. I'm Holly Black. With me is Johann Scholtz. He's an equity analyst at Morningstar. Hello.
Hi, Holly.
So you focus mostly on the European banks. So I guess one of the big topics at the moment is the outlook for interest rates on the continent. What's going on in the sector?
Yes, absolutely. So interest rates has really been the main topic. It's been depressing earnings for the banks, especially with interest rates going negative in Europe. And, all of the banks are battling what to do. Do they need to pass it on to consumers, which will obviously get a lot of pushback, or do they need to absorb it into their own margins? But we've actually started seeing some of the longer-term forward curves lifting up a bit. So, yeah, that already points to a bit of an improvement in the outlook for interest rates. So, I think the biggest impact is possibly in the base already.
But I guess that one of the issues for these companies is that when interest rates are low or even negative, there's very little room for them to make a profit.
Exactly. So, that's really what we've been seeing with the banks. ROEs depressed to below or very close to cost of capital levels, which is why most of them at the moment are trading at a discount to their book values.
So one of the reasons a lot of investors like banks is for their dividends. They're quite reliable dividends payers. Is that the case in Europe, or is this affecting them?
It is having an impact. I think, yes, the bank's dividend yields are attractive, but I think one needs to be very careful not to start seeing banks as utilities, that it's a guaranteed dividends. Banks, by their very nature, remains very operationally geared, obviously having a lot of financial gearing in there. So there's always a risk that dividends can be cut for banks, And towards the end of last year, we did a piece where we focused on the sustainability of the bank's dividends. And, we believe that one needs to focus on quality banks rather than necessarily going for the bank that's paying the highest dividend yield.
And do you have any top picks in the sector that you like?
Yes, so my top picks at the moment are, and it's been for a while, credit Suisse, where we believe, the market hasn't really appreciated its full underlying profitability. It's had a long process of restructuring, which has depressed profitability, and this year, 2020, is probably going to be the first year where we're going to get a proper clean P&L out of Credit Suisse, and hopefully the market can see that it's very much like a UBS. It's quite a profitable bank. At the moment, it's still trading at a discount to UBS. We believe that discount is not necessarily justified, and that discount should narrow over time. And then our second pick is Dutch bank ING. They've also got a very strong operation in Germany. And yeah, ING is obviously very negatively impacted by sentiment around lower interest rates. Nearly 80% of its revenue comes from net interest income as opposed to fee income. But, we also believe that over time, especially if you look towards the longer term, interest rates normalizing, ING will be it already is one of the most profitable banks in Europe, and that profitability can only improve with normalized interest rates. And what we also like about ING is that it operates in the Dutch market, where it's got a 40% market share in current accounts. So in contrast to a lot of the continent where market is highly fragmented, the Dutch market is very concentrated, and ING, is the market leader in a concentrated market.
Johann, thank you so much for your time. And thanks for joining us.